DJ Event Planner, Electro Voice, DJ Trivia and DJ Bingo, ProX Direct, NLFX Pro, Promo Only, Odyssey Cases, Perfect Portals, JMOZ Lighting, Instant DJ Requests, and our DJ and TV Insiders. This is John Young from DJ and TV. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show with our producer, Howie, as always. Who's here.
Hello.
Swingin' Jay, who's making a guest appearance. He's been rather quiet tonight. I'm a little concerned with him. I'm worried. I haven't asked any questions yet. I don't want to know. We have Aaron joining us, who's going to try to get a word in edgewise, and he's not dealing with
two.
And we have John from Boston. Joining us as well. So we're here, and it's nice to see you. And I don't have a plan for this week, and I don't normally have any kind of plan. I guess what I can do is just kind of talk about what I've been up to, and we can springboard off of that, right?
Sure.
Is that a thing? So,
Yeah.
what should I talk about? Should I talk about the gig I got coming up, or should I talk about the videos I've been doing this week? What should I talk about?
Well, you have been very busy with the videos.
I've been busy with the videos.
Yeah.
I've been doing this series where I'm asking people to submit the photographs of their setup, just the picture of their setup.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do at that point is have a look at the picture and see if there's anything that I can see that would help improve the function of the system. So by that, what I mean is speaker placement, lighting placement, those kind of things.
Constructive criticism.
I'm not grading on aesthetics.
No.
I'm not going in and saying, well, you need a scrim here, or you can see your feet. I'm not that guy. It's interesting because they're positive videos. And I'm not picking on anybody.
Yeah, you've been very kind with those, really.
You have to submit your photo. You have to want me to have a look at your system to just see if there's anything that I see. And I'm not nitpicking at all. There's no cable management police thing going on here. There's none of that. All I'm looking for is just how the system is actually functioning. Does this make sense? Is this going to work the best for what you have here, what you have to work with? I'm not saying, oh, get rid of those speakers and get those speakers. None of that. This is what we have to work with. What can we do in placement-wise to make things work a little better? It's interesting because most of the comments have to do with aesthetics. Those are the first things that people talk about. The cables, or, just how it looks in general. And it got me thinking, and I just did a video on it for Vibo, actually, for the Tuesday DJ Gig Tips. Do you think that DJs are so consumed with aesthetics, just how things look, that they forget to think about how the stuff is supposed to be functioning?
Yes. I know several like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's odd.
I mean, well, there's even a group out there, Bad DJ Setups, and all they do is just tear people down. And I left the group. It was just so.
Well, yeah, that was just.
So did I. So did I.
Negative.
Yeah, I did too.
Too negative for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I've left the group, but I've blocked them. I don't want to see.
That's the same thing.
It may still turn up like as I'm a member of, but I don't see any posts from them.
Yeah.
I make the argument that, I'm not suggesting, presentation isn't important. I'm not saying that at all. I feel like presentation is important. but I feel like you got to get function down first before you worry about form.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the videos are all about. You know?
Let's say you're 10 minutes late on your gig and you don't have enough time to get running. Do you really care that your speakers are your wires are completely taped exactly parallel with the floor and they're perfectly aligned? Or do you care that you've got volume? Do you care you've got sound? You care that the people in front of you that are paying you have what they're paying you to do. They're there to hear you. Aesthetically, you want to look good. And throughout the night, if you're late, you're going to slowly make it look nice by the end of the night. But the main reason you're there is the sound. You got to get those speakers running.
That's the first thing I do. And that happened to me at basically a wedding farm where they had my setup time was such and such a time, but I go to set up in the room, there's something going on. And it was like, I got a half hour to set up. It was like, first thing, get sound going for a cocktail. And then once I get everything else set up, then I go back and bungee cord or gaff tape the wires. And nobody cares. They're over at the bar drinking and socializing. And then when it comes time for the photo ops and blah, 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 then you can neaten it up. But the main thing, like Brian said, man, get it functional.
Right. So
get it functional.
So Jay, I'm gonna poke you, encourage you to speak. I have a question for you. So my question is, well, first of all, a statement. I've seen pictures of your setup in the past. It's been a while, but I've seen pictures of your setup, and you care about, symmetry and how things are set up. You have a neat looking setup. The last time I saw a picture of what you had, it looked nice. So my question is, do you think that the audience is really that concerned with your aesthetics, or do you feel like that they're more concerned with how your system is functioning?
I think there's a lot to be said for how you appear in a room. And I think the level of expense often dictates the expectation of appearance. You're at a 50-person casual afternoon event. You've got a couple speakers. You've got your setup. The expectation isn't there. You're at a $100,000 wedding and there's this, you're supposed to look a certain way. I think too many DJs get stuck on the look and don't go for the job. So I think my appearance has always been tables, speakers right next to it. And that was done because I used big speakers and I was always afraid if they were too far away, someone could knock into it, they could trip.
Safety.
Safety was always big because I'm carrying a lot of insurance and, I don't want to ruin the night. I think the second sound comes out, what you manipulate with it and how you manipulate it becomes paramount compared to where things are placed and how they look. The majority of my events are outside. I rarely set up lighting till after at least dinner is started.
Sure.
Because I don't want to put lights in direct sunlight. So, I've kind of fallen into a habitual, this is my table, these are my speakers, this is my coffin, this is my laptop, I have sound. Okay, now I'll walk out and look and say, okay, I can move that cable.
Sure.
But you know what? Going to the Evolve 50s has really changed the game for me. Because I don't have two poles that have speakers wrapped around them. And credit to our friend Steve Jones, who I haven't seen or heard of in forever. I'm still using on occasion my DJ skirt stuff, whether it's the 6-foot tablecloth, whether it's a pole stand or, covering. I mean, I bought that stuff 14 years ago.
That's long time.
Still works as good as it did day one.
There are 14-year-olds watching this show right now.
I think you always have to understand one thing. There's only two crowds. There's the DJs and then there's everyone else. If you're only focused on the DJs, you're missing out on everyone else. And totally. I have yet to have a DJ come to one of my events, maybe once, and hire me. It's usually the other people. And that's kind of who I'm working for. Yeah. And they don't want to be intimidated. They don't need to see wall of sound. They don't need to see Woodstock redone.
Right.
You know, they're
let me
more
ask you-
impressed. You
I
know,
have a question for you though.
Oh yeah.
With your wire management, it's so meticulous. What brand of gaff tape are you using on the grass that works?
You know what? And it's funny you bring that up. Last weekend,
Oh man,
I had that wedding, and
Nicely done.
my speakers were 6 feet in front of me, and I probably had 4 or 5 people walk in front between my table and the speakers and trip up the wires. And I just got panicked, and I said to the coordinator, "You got to help me, because either we've got to do something to keep people away from this patch of dirt, or we have to physically move my table to the speakers, because I'm losing my mind every time a guest walks through." I mean, they were very nice about it, but I kept like, "No, be careful, be careful, be careful." You know, and there's an event space in San Diego that has these little metal kind of horseshoes.
Horseshoes, yes.
And that's what they do when they run
Yes.
any sound out on their grass.
Sure.
Yeah.
So something I was thinking about too, and going back to what I was saying about how the audience feels about our setups. I'm not suggesting that the audience is going to appreciate good audio or good lighting that's set up correctly and functions well. What I am suggesting is that if it's done wrong, then they'll notice. And at that point, if they're noticing the sound isn't right, or if the lighting's painful, that's a problem. It's as, just like us as professionals. I mean, we come into an event and we may make it look easy. We may do that with our timelines, with the dinner program, with the first dances and all that. And someone may see that and say, "Oh, that looks pretty easy." Well, the reason it looks easy is because we made it look easy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking, our setups have to look good. Like, first, we're the bride. Let's just say when the people first come through, the expectation is they come in and everything we have is set up the way it's going to see. They, get there early, get everything set, taped down the way it's supposed to be. You don't want to be, fixing things last minute. The big reveal when they walk in, it should look as good as it's going to look for the course of the night. And you shouldn't have a system that's too complicated that takes 2.5 hours to set up and rig. You want to be able to get in, get set, get music playing, and have all the details worked out before people see it. Hopefully that's the pictures that you're seeing of the the function. The function's up and running at that point.
I am
final form.
I am so much more concerned with function than I am with form. That I kind of had to especially when I built that system after my stroke. It had to work for me, and it had to work for the audience. What it looked like was secondary. What it looked like, it didn't look good. I mean, I knew it didn't, but it worked. It didn't sound bad. It sounded good, and it worked really well. It might not have been pretty, but it worked well. So with the idea of form under function, so function being first and form being second, if we all are in agreement that this is important.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sure that Howie watches my videos like habitually. He's always there, but most of you probably haven't seen them. Would you like to play a game and have a look at some setups and see what you can find just from looking at the picture, what's going on with these setups function wise that you feel like could make an improvement on what you're looking at? Would you like to do that?
Sure.
Well, if you would.
I guess I have to sit out because I've seen them all.
No, maybe you'll see something I didn't. Maybe
I've seen all the but I've seen all the comments too. So,
well, you may see something that I haven't seen. I mean, it's not like I know everything. Sure. Okay, I'm going to pull this first picture up. I'm not going in any particular order. This is just the one that's in front of me. And let's have a look at this. Let me share the screen. And we're going to look at our first picture here. This gentleman's name is Twan, who has this setup right here. I think it's a good looking setup.
Really nice.
It is very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, the wire management is impeccable.
Sure. The wire management's not bad at all. I mean, I don't see a problem with that. And the other comment I have on just a compliment on the aesthetics of things is that his lights are not shining in anyone's eyes. He's got those lights on the tree, and I'm pretty confident those are moving pars.
Yeah.
I don't know that they are, but I think they are.
I think they are too.
And he's got them pointed down.
Yeah, I actually blew that up. They are moving heads, so yeah, he can
like
have
a moving
them
wash par, right?
Right.
So as
the only bad part is just if somebody came up to request a song or walk directly up to his booth, those lights are going to hit the people in the face.
But they're moving heads, so we don't know.
They won't be there long. It'll be temporary, but
it'll be like what I do. It's always over the people's heads, you know.
Yeah. Well, look at his white movers. I mean, they're shining up.
Yeah.
You know?
The only piece, I would maybe have moved the taller white movers to the inside and moved the shorter ones to the outside.
You're talking aesthetics.
Yeah, but
what do you see there function-wise that could be improved upon?
Well, the low movers on the inside are going to get yourself in the face and be working against yourself.
That's what I mean. They're going to get you.
Well, that depends on how you have them programmed.
I guess.
Right.
Yeah, assuming you do.
You got a good DMX program if you're not running.
Yeah, if you tell them not to. Yeah, you can tell them not to do that. But I mean, if it's just going around, there is a chance that you're going to be blinded every few seconds because of just where they are in respect to where you stand.
I mean, the only thing that I would do different here, other than I do think it would be symmetrically a good idea to have the smaller totems on the outside, would be to raise those tops. They're too low, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the one criticism I had for him. And that's just the safety thing as far as I'm concerned, because if people are getting hit in the ears with a full range, long throw PA horn, that could cause some hearing damage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But it is a very neat setup.
If he got those speakers up in the air, I mean, you can change the aesthetic here and there, but I think he's got a beautiful setup. Otherwise, I think
it's really nice.
Very nice. Very
great
nice.
Booth. Yeah.
So there's one. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at Bill's setup here. This is Bill's setup. And actually, I've edited that picture. Let me find a picture of Bill's setup that's unedited.
Yeah.
And the only one I have that's unedited, to my knowledge, right here in front of me is this one right here, where I've got this is actually the still that I used for my thumbnail. So this is Bill's setup. What do you see that you think could improve things function-wise?
Function and sound-wise, get those tops off the subs.
Yeah, that is glaring, is those tops on the subs. But the other thing I noticed was the pars on on both bars. They're shining right in people's eyes.
Well, they're
I
down.
think with a white ceiling, if they use a ceiling bounce, it would wash the whole dance floor.
Yeah,
absolutely, Howie.
And they stick out really far. I'd be concerned about tripping as people walk around them.
What's sticking out?
Yeah,
the legs. The legs on the two tripods.
The light trees.
Yeah, it just looks like they go really far. I mean, they're outside of the frame of the photo. And I've got to assume people are trying to walk around them. Mm-hmm. So he's taking up a lot of real estate that I don't think he needs to.
What would happen?
One on the sidewalk.
Yeah, good point.
Good point. What would happen, just out of curiosity, would it be better if he put those light trees or if he put the speakers on the outside of the light trees? Would that help?
I think it would, but in this particular instance, personally, I would only use one light tree and I'd put it right behind me.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Howie. You read my mind.
I'd put it right behind me, and I would have the leg that can be tripped on facing me, because I always know that leg is there. And the other two legs, they can walk behind him and there'd be no trip hazard.
So that's what I had suggested to him. The second set of speakers here, or here and here. I mean, typically you add a second set of speakers to realize more loudness at your event. You want something to be louder. So to add an identical set of speakers to the set of speakers, like it's exponential growth. Somebody said it was linear growth. I think it's exponential, where you double it every time. So if you have one speaker,
every three dBs is double.
Right. But if you want to make a system louder, for instance, if you have one speaker, to add a second speaker makes it louder. So let's say it's a 3 dB gain. And if you have two speakers or you want it louder, 3 is not going to cut it. 4 is going to cut it. 4 is going to make it louder. So he went from 2 to 4. So he's gone louder at this point. But yeah, get him in the air, because otherwise those horns are probably hitting people in the ears while they're trying to sit and eat dinner.
Yep.
So if you got those in the air, that would help them. Now, most people run 2 subs and 2 tops. I was also suggesting that if he wants more bass as well, and I don't know if he needs it as his event. I don't know if this is overkill. I don't know how many people are there. I'm not critiquing that. I'm just working with what I'm looking at. If he wanted to have more bass as well as more mids and highs, an easy way to do this without adding anything would be to just couple those subwoofers.
Exactly.
Isn't that a 3 dB gain?
Yes, it is.
And that's free. That's just by putting the two together.
Set them side by side, right in front.
And if he put those right in front of his stand, that might help with, as well. I mean, it would make sense that they were there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, that's and I like Jay's observation with these tripods. It would be really, it'd be really cool on these, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. What if, and this is a what if Bill, the gentleman here with his thumbs up, DJing this event, what if he took the existing speakers on tripods and moved them out?
Mm-hmm.
And then he put poles on those subwoofers to support those tops.
Mm-hmm.
And then cradle the lights behind all of that.
Yeah.
There you go.
How would that be?
Totally.
Yeah. You'd reduce a lot of trip hazard, and it would, just aesthetically, I know we're not supposed to be doing that, but aesthetically it would look better, I think.
Well, sometimes aesthetics are a byproduct of improvements.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jay?
I think the missed opportunity for me is something to do with those 2 columns.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that's, I mean, I'd either have 2 speakers inside with the 2 subs out, or stack the subs right in front of me, put the 2 speakers on the outside, and maybe move the light trees into where the subs are. Because at least then you've cut back the real estate and that tripping hazard goes away. I think people are afraid of having things in their way. I did an event a few years ago where they had twice the number they told me. So it went from 3 to 600.
Oh, geez.
But I was really just talking, playing background.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I took the 2 Evolves I had 2 15 subs and 2 10-inch tops. And I literally just put them next to each other and pointed the subs out, or the tops out. And it got much louder, but it looked terrible because it was directly in front of me. But I wasn't the point. Reaching the people in the back to hear my voice was the point of the event.
Right.
So I didn't mind losing the appearance. And I think something like this, it's out of context. I don't know if everyone is 100 feet away and it's a 16th birthday
we don't
party.
know. We don't know.
But I do know that the further away from you things are, the less control you have. Like if that speaker's right next to you and somebody bumps it, you can reach over and grab the pole. He's got 2 10-foot lighting trees that are up in the air that just looks like it's a good 4 feet at the base. I mean, I'd have those up against those columns. I'd have the speakers in. I'd stack the subs. You could even put the 2 small speakers. They look like they might be 12s. Put those on the ground. That's going to give you more bass. If this is some bass crazy event, who knows?
Oh, no. If you put those speakers on the ground, your highs are not going to work.
No,
but that's what I'm saying. You're just going to muddy it. But I mean, I used to do that at events where it was like less people, but they wanted more thump. I would take speakers off stands, like my 15s, put them on the floor, and I found it just gave more of a rumble to things, and people were like, ooh.
Ill-advised. But neither here nor there. I will tell you this missed opportunity that I found on this. You said missed opportunity. I thought you were going to go somewhere.
You're going to say what I was going to say. I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead. The columns.
2 pars against those columns would have been
them up.
insane.
Absolutely.
See,
100%.
I'm so bad. I'm assuming that as the light goes down, he was smart enough to do that.
Well,
I'm
I don't
even
know that
giving
he
him the
has
benefit.
them.
I don't
know that he
see
has
them, and I see the plugs on the bottom, but yeah, no, that's almost so obvious. It's like a given that those are
Here's the benefit.
That's
I would have
huge.
both those subs over, thrown a par behind them, lit those columns up from behind the speakers, tucked them in. And I know the QSE brand. I know that I use that line all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You probably didn't need those other 2 speakers sitting on the subs. Throw the tops on poles, slide it in, get those lights in behind, light up those columns. You remove the tripping hazard. You're going to sound a lot cleaner because you don't have 2 identical speakers fighting each other and fighting the filtering that you're going to get with them being stacked like that. You're going to have canceled frequencies sitting out front. Okay, yes, only maybe another DJ might hear that, or a sound tech might hear that, but it'll clean up his sound.
No, I'm with you. I don't think he actually needs those extra tops.
I don't think so
at
either.
all.
Those
I
are
think
K12s.
he could use a pole on each sub, and then there's no tripod trip.
Yes, sir.
I'm suggesting the lighting, going back to that. If there were pars on the bottom of those columns and they were aimed right, not only would it beautify the columns, not only would a lot of that light hit the ceiling, which would reflect back on the dance floor, but remember, light is reflective. So you're also going to get light reflecting off of the columns, coming into the audience, creating wash without hitting anybody in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks so good. I would love to light that room up.
Brian, it sounds like you've done this before.
Maybe once or twice. Yeah, maybe once or twice.
I'm thinking of that one. It looked like a Roman Colosseum, and you lit up every one of those columns, and it looked gorgeous. Oh my gosh, that looked gorgeous. I mean, the outside. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, those are just 2 examples of the things I was looking at. And I just wanted to see if you guys saw anything. And you did. You saw some really good things. There, trip hazards are always a problem with tripods. And I'm happy that I've gotten away from tripods altogether.
Me too.
Yeah.
I hate those things.
How about you, Jay? You're not using tripods anymore at all, are you?
No, I still have. I used it long time ago in a big room where I did an annual party, and it's a 12-foot high speaker stand with a T-bar on top, so it's a light stand.
Light stand, yeah.
But when you open up the bottom, it's so freaking wide that it really limited where I could put it. And, I don't have anything in the air anymore. I've got to come up with something for my movers, but I've been getting away with them being on a high table.
Yeah.
And in placement to the dance floor. Saturday is a new event or Friday it's a new venue. And they're like, we have kind of a high table for you. I'm like, great. So I'm going to stick with what works. Because again, I'm outside, so I don't have walls. So I have a ceiling. So that's really where I'm going to focus.
They have those collapsible tripods now. We saw them in the first picture.
You know what? I'm looking into getting a couple of those. And I'm sort of on the fence because I like the aesthetic. But do I need to add the work?
The reason I like them for you specifically, is because of all of the outdoor events you do.
That's kind of where my brain is too.
You're sometimes limited as to what you can illuminate.
Yeah.
You don't have a ceiling. You can't, if the sky is the ceiling, you can't illuminate it.
No.
So, something like a totem like that with some kind of lycra cover on it, lit up, warmed, would give you wash that you wouldn't otherwise have.
Well, the event I did a couple weeks ago that I don't want to go into grave detail, but the one that you and I talked about, and you're like, oh, Depeche Mode, New Order, that event.
Yeah.
And as we expected, incredibly nice people dancing all night long.
That was an outdoor event, right?
That was completely outdoors at a golf course. But when they had sent me the diagram, they had me at the front of the dance floor. And when I got there, the mothers had decided the dance floor looked better. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 tables away from me. So picture a grassy area with a dance floor and then 4 tables of 10
Oh, wow.
between the dance floor and myself.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
I'm outside with nothing. And I made an executive decision on my little 6-foot table to put 2 Chauvet Wash Effects 2s and have them go sound because I needed to light people up that were a good 30 feet
Far away. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it looked, you're standing behind everything. You're like, it sounds good. It looks good. Then you go out there and you're like, wow, what's that twinkling light in the distance? Oh, that's my light.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
it
a
was
lighthouse. That's what's going on.
well, and I said to the coordinator, she's like, from Vegas and all doing, I do big events. I'm like, okay, well, she goes, can you move your speakers out to the dance floor area? I'm like, no. 1, there's no power. 2, I'm not going to take 100 kids running wild and give them a couple Evolve 50s to knock into.
Yeah.
And like I said about the tripping hazard, one of the mothers walked by, and as she realized she caught one of the cables, she grabbed the pole of the Evolve 50.
Oh, no.
So it was one more example of 100% of the time from now on, the Evolves are going to go next to the table.
I'm having Daytona Speedway Welcome to Rockville flashbacks from November on what you just said.
Yeah.
Because and of course as the tech I'm saying to I'm like, you can't put it there.
Yeah.
Well, why? Well, because if you do, someone's going to grab it to make this step. You should put it over there. Well, I don't want it over there. I'm going to stand over there. Well, stand here instead.
Yeah.
Put it there.
I've had a couple old people grab them as a way walking past my table, and they'll reach out for it. Like, oh, there's something solid I can grab onto. And I'm
It's
like,
natural.
well, and but that's the thing. Do you remember when Steve had his section where he had a DJ table and he put up like a Lycra wall so that all you saw was the table and then this like white Lycra wall?
That was Gabe who did that.
Was that Gabe?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was Gabe at Scrim King who did that.
Okay. Because
I don't think
I
Lycra
thought the
was
other
anything
day,
Steve ever dealt with.
I thought about it the other day. Boy, wouldn't it be nice to just take a box like those stands you were just talking about, but take something like that and build it so it covered the Evolve 50s. So they wouldn't look like something you could go to, but it would have to be like, Lycra or whatever that would totally let the sound out. Almost like if you put a circle shower rack at the top and then have this drape come down.
He made those.
It was Gabe that did those?
Yeah, he made those.
You're going for like an oversized totem then.
Yeah, pretty much. So you wouldn't even see the speaker, but it also would give you, it wouldn't give you the opportunity to get near it, and you could put a light bar in front of it.
Right.
Now you just got a column.
Right.
And I think it would serve 2 purposes. It would get people away from that's a source to touch. No one's going to look at a big white square and go, let me touch that. Versus they see a black stick that they assume is strong.
Never say never.
No, I know. Yeah, the stupidity of humankind is often
Fortunately, I have most of the time, except for that one exception that I mentioned with the Daytona thing I did, most of the time I'm able to put anything Evolve against a wall or next to me.
Yeah, it's always next to me. Whenever.
So if I'm using it like as a mid fill or a rear fill, not only do you have to set the delay, very important, it works well that way, but it's against the wall or into the corner. So it's really nowhere where anyone would need to grab it to get to anything. But if you were setting it up next to a platform, like a stage that's, a step up or whatever, yeah, it becomes a hand railing at that point.
Well, it shocked me. The guy was walking, and it was at the farm. So I'm on my table. I mean, I've done this, 93 weddings there. So, everything's consistent. It only happened once in 93 weddings. And this gentleman walked out onto the dance floor in front of me and just was very uneased and very shaky and took one step and looked wobbly and reached right over at the column. And I was just like, oh, sir, here, let me help you because that's not sturdy. But again, the speaker is a foot and a half away from me.
You got to be fast.
And it just strengthened my resolve that, you know what? Yeah. I don't really care what it looks like or how it sounds. This is what it's going to have to be, because I can't afford to have this thing collapse on me because it was in a place.
Yeah.
Like, I like your idea. If I could put them in the corners, that would be ideal, because then I'm not worried about, there's people in the corner. They're not.
If you're outdoors, you don't have that type.
Well, that's like I said, I'm at the San Diego Wild Safari Park this Friday.
Worried about tigers getting it.
Oh, well, I'm worried about tigers, and I'm worried about getting my warning of hitting 89
going to be a
dB.
sample. That's going to be a sample of the EDM song. Okay, I'm worried about tigers.
Well, I told the bride and groom
happen.
I would bring sound effects on samples. So occasionally I would do like a lion roar just to freak their guests out.
Yeah, but just don't do a lion mating call where you attract lions.
No. No. The other thing, and this is side note, but they give you the one warning that you're at 89 dB. The second warning, quote unquote, is a $500 fine.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you get shot.
No, $500.
It's California. You never know.
Yeah, but
no guns. Remember,
those things are notoriously unreliable because, number one, if the crowd is talking loudly, that's 85 dB.
Right.
And if somebody decides to do a whoop and you're not even playing music, it'll trigger it and you're in trouble. And you're not even playing music.
No. Well, I mean, it's, it's the challenges we have at all events, I suppose. But, like anything else, it's one of those things where just keep them on the dance floor, keep the sound there, Yeah,
I think, the reason that they do that kind of stuff is because some idiot has gone in there and just cranked it so loud that it's been something that neighbors have complained about or something. Mm-hmm. So that's what they do. I've been into the situation before where, you can't have it above, whatever they have for their arbitrary decibel level that they've chosen. And I go in there and I'm playing and I keep checking back with them. Is it okay? Is it okay? Oh no, you're fine. No matter what you've done tonight has been fine. I was at one event where there was a barn and I know I've told this story before, but it was a family farm, right? And the granddaughter inherited it and decided that she was going to make a wedding venue out of the barn. Right.
Every other building in California now.
but then she had the bright idea to sell all the land around the barn for development.
Oh, gee.
So now the people who bought the land and built the houses on land that she used to own are complaining about her wedding venue being loud. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those deals. She didn't think. So it was one of those things where we have to close the doors at 9:00. We don't have air conditioning and we got to keep the decibel level way, way down. Right. So it was like 9:20 and I'm like, the doors are still open. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I went to her and I said, hey, the doors are still open. She said, oh yeah, because you're doing it in a way we've never seen it done before. You're keeping the sound level down. It's nice. So I think they do if people just can't tune the system or,
and it's the thing.
I brought 18-inch subwoofers because louder is better and I can always turn them down.
It was in this contract as well, and it comes up all the time. No subs, because they've they've realized along the way, subs are the bad thing. So I did an event last summer, and I walk in, and they had told me up front, no subs, this and that. I go, no problems. I roll in with the EVs, boom, put the bottoms down. She goes, you're not using those, are you? I'm like, yeah. She goes, you can't. I said, oh, I'm sorry, it's a line array, it's not a sub. Well, no, that's a subwoofer. I'm like, it looks like a subwoofer, but you'll see in a second, click, click. Oh, it's the whole speaker? I said, yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting way to do a two-way top.
Yeah, it's a new technology, so you don't have to really crank the bass. And, at the end of the night, she's like, wow, okay, that did sound good, and it wasn't, But I could have brought the JBL PRX 615s, and they have these two wooden cutouts. This was the one I said it looked like DJ in a box because you're in what looks like an old medicine man wagon.
Yeah, right.
And you're in the middle. They have two cutouts where your speakers go.
Okay.
Now, if I'd brought the JBL PRX 615s, I would have laid down just as much, if not more, bass from those things.
Right.
Being 4 feet above everyone, it would have been blasting loud instead of having, Evolve 50s on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the perspective. You have ill-informed, uneducated people making decisions based on facts that one person who may or may not be valid told them.
So one
And
person screws it
usually-
up for everybody else.
Well, and usually what it is,
happens.
it's in hopes that they get the booking. Oh, yeah, no, we don't do that. That's how other DJs do that. You should just hire me. You should just hire me because I don't do this. And, oh, my lights, oh, they're this. You know, I mean, it's a very competitive, business we're in. So, suddenly the contract goes out, 85 dB or this. At least the Wild Animal Park, I can see the argument, even though I personally find it insane that they do weddings there. And I've worked there before. No issues.
Friggin'
But
dog
it's like,
whistle would just be funny.
you have animals that are trying to sleep and,
Sure.
Right.
they have what they call the animal experience. They'll bring a cheetah up on a chain, and it's like, oh, look, there's a cheetah here. You can take a photo with it. I mean, just, let the animal go back to Africa and be cool, and we'll just do weddings in venues.
Wherever cheetahs are from. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, wherever. I'm pretty sure they're not from San Diego.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
not.
I'm not that studied up on the big cats. But
I think it's Africa as well.
I'm
but,
confident
yeah.
in this one.
Probably
I'm thinking
more of a
that
cougar
continent's
issue than San
probably
Diego.
got the lead.
Do they really call that the cheetah experience?
Yes.
I mean, oh, God.
Yes.
I'll bet there was a committee that thought this thing up.
I had a party years ago, and the guy came in with like big, deep pockets and said, "What can we do?" He was doing it for Petco, the company. And I said, "Well, I can get a DJ. I need more. Well, I get a comedian. More. Cigar girls. I need more."
Cheetah.
I said, "How about Joan Embry?" "Wait, the Joan Embry?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's the ambassador of the San Diego Zoo." Because, I mean, this is 20 years ago. She was still a little bit in the realm of public.
You're talking about the kind of people who used to go on Carson and let the monkeys
That's
jump on the
Joan
table
Embry.
and stuff.
Yeah, the blonde girl.
That's the
Okay.
one.
And guess what? This was in 2000, for a small donation to the San Diego Wild Animal Zoo or Park, whatever, of $5,000, you get Joan, a Phoenix fox, a cheetah, and a 200-pound, 19-foot boa python, whatever the hell it
Constrictor
was.
thing. Yeah.
And I know because there's photos of me online carrying the snake with 3 other people onto the boat.
200 pounds, huh?
But 19
onto
feet
the
long.
boat?
I mean, that's crazy. That's,
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And it's heavy because it's in constant movement. So you're like, it's the weight shifting on you.
Well, 200 pounds is heavy anyway.
Right. So there's 4 of us carrying the snake.
What
And
could
then
go
there's-
wrong?
Well, there's photos of me with the cheetah, and I'm standing here, and the cheetah's over to my right. And all of a sudden, they take the photo, and then in the next photo, you see the cheetah, and the cheetah's tongue is on my arm doing this. And you see me do this look, holding my arm at the cheetah's mouth, and Joan Embry going, "He likes you. Don't jerk your arm." I'm like, okay, and it feels like sandpaper. And then she goes
Cats
over,
do,
her
yeah.
assistant takes the chain, and the cheetah walks away, and I go, "Wow, that felt funny." She goes, "Oh, we get bloody all the time because it's like cats' tongues are like sandpaper."
Yeah,
She
yeah.
goes, "The cheetahs are even stronger. They'll lick you the same spot 2 or 3 times, and you'll start to bleed." I go, "Does that inspire them?" She goes, "It can." I'm like, I'm just this goofy entertainment director.
I think you
And
only
this
get
one
one
involved
mic.
in the fennec fox, the world's smallest fox. It only is this big.
I've had quite, I feel like, an illustrious DJ career. I've done some interesting things. I've got some rock star stories, but nothing compares to Jay's stories.
Yeah.
Between this stuff and some of the
Playboy
other things
Mansion.
he's done.
The thing of it is, he doesn't have a leg to stand on because it was his idea.
I know. That was going through my mind. I'm the one that said hire
Damn
her.
fault, man.
It's like, what happened?
Right. What year was this, Jay?
2000.
Okay. Because I'm picturing you in your Miami Vice outfit.
I believe I had a white shirt and a beige sweater vest.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'll find. They're not on this computer, but if you went to my Facebook page, you could see them pretty quickly. And I look horrified, like, I look terrified that I'm about to become, hey, everyone, DJ Lefty.
DJ Lexi.
That would suck.
This is going to go downhill fast.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, he likes you. Like, what else? And in your head, he doesn't like me. He thinks I'm food.
Right. Those are just calming words.
Yeah. What else are you going to say? You're about to lose your right arm. And all I could think was like, I'm the guy that said we should hire Joan Embry.
Yeah. They say no sudden movements. You're in a dangerous spot.
The one I was waiting to hear was, it can sense fear. And I'm like, oh shit. Its senses are tingling then.
So you don't get like twitchy around cats now, do you?
Well, I've never been a fan, to be honest with you, of the cat. And only because they can sneak up.
You didn't like dogs either until you had a dog.
Well, now I don't have a choice. Right. But yeah, the cat thing was always, they just appear. And I've always heard the horror stories of the owner dying and then the cat eating the owner. Yeah. Just, and they got claws and I don't know.
Cats just do what cats do. Mine's laying over there right now. By the way, my cat's become a bit of a DMX connoisseur.
Really?
Because I come down here every morning and there's rainbow strobes going on, and
nice.
Went from blue to like green, and he's just sitting there like, look what I did.
Figured out the Ape Lab remote.
I get the job.
Figured out the Ape Lab remote, huh?
Oh no, this is like a DMX board I have down here. That's how I control the lighting in the room. So I've got my Pioneer monitors are sitting on top of Global Trust sticks. So I've got them raised, and then I've got lights back here. I've got them. It's all messed up now because, of course, the cat's been messing with them. But then I've got warm white, cool white pars shining straight down that I can adjust. The make them bright, make them dim, whatever. It was just a way to light things, and it's what I had, so I used it when I put this all together. But the cat's discovered the board. So the cat now, in fact, I took a picture here. I'll share it with you. And I did post this on Facebook because, I post my life on Facebook. This is Ollie. He's very proud of his work here. In fact, he's even sitting on top of the speaker.
There you
posing.
Go.
Nice.
Yeah. Very Egyptian looking.
That was this morning. And I watched him do it. I turned all the lights down. I had a nice thing going on here. And he totally botched up my Zen. He just decided to screw with the board. And
with the wall behind there and the texture, we should cop that photo and be like, this was just found in an Egyptian pyramid. This is apparently the first known speaker and worshipped cat.
There you go. Some marketing material for you, Jay.
There you go. Yeah. Gotta think.
Pioneer.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I had fun doing the show tonight.
Cats prefer Pioneer.
Yeah, it was a good
exactly.
Cats prefer Pioneer.
So cats prefer Pioneer.
3 out of 4 cats.
Cool cats.
There's always one.
Yeah. There's always one that doesn't.
But yeah, I'll kill it early tonight. We'll quit while we're ahead because otherwise it'll get stupid. Maybe we kept some viewers.
Yeah.
We start going left too far. When I start talking about what my dog's doing next, we might have problems.
Yeah, but function over form, right? We just want to remember safety is number one. Keep those legs in as much as possible. Use the columns. Use white. Wash wherever possible. Keep the light out of people's eyes and keep it sounding good.
I think that's been my takeaway this week, and it just was so. I almost want to use the word surprising. I'm not really surprised, but it was just enlightening to see how many people, when I would show the picture, the first thing they would do was just focus on the aesthetics, and they wouldn't even look at where things were sitting. It wasn't even a concern of theirs. They wanted scrim and they wanted cable management. They didn't care if it was dangerous or if it wasn't set up right.
Criticism. No, what you do constructively, I know that's going to help people out there. I mean, I hope they watch your videos. I hope they sit back and listen to it. You've got the experience. Like I watched 2 of yours. I'm sitting back. I don't need to. I know exactly what you're going to say, and it's great. It's constructive. The guys out there need it. A lot of people are too concerned with how it looks, and
I don't know at all.
Your toe out trick. I mean, it's important for people to realize. Hey, just put them toe out, just a hair. Save your hair.
Yeah, on the arrays. Jay does that. I know Jay does that now.
Yeah, I do that.
It helps.
It does.
Does.
Did I ever tell you why I discovered that, or why I was so happy when I discovered that this was a solution to the problem.
No.
I was doing a casino night for my friend Art's kids' Catholic school. They had a casino night in the gym. So everybody's playing, games, like casino games at tables. And I'm just providing background music. So I'm playing whatever. I'm trying to play to the crowd that's in front of me. And I'm doing all kinds of stuff. No dancing. This is not a dance event. This is just a background music for casino night. And they had this principal in there for a year. And, she was insistent that nobody touched the mic but her, and just a real control freak. Well, she wanted the wireless mic so she could do about 45 minutes worth of door prizes.
Oh.
And this lady had the shrilliest voice I think I've ever heard in my life, amplified over arrays, not towed out, shoot me right in the ear. Now, think about this for a minute, folks. If you hear something you don't like, your natural reflex is to put your fingers in your ear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what anybody would do, right? Well, guess what? I got one hand. So I can only protect half of my head. And I was going nuts. I was putting headphones on. I was doing everything I could to avoid this lady's shrills. And it was only, I think, about a month later that I ended up at a place where Ben Still was. And I noticed he had the toe out, and I asked him about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. But yeah, that was the last straw for me. A little bit of music didn't hurt me. I mean, I think I've got things tuned pretty well. I think those arrays don't sound terrible in the ear field, but the shrilly voice, that was it for me. I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, the shock a couple weeks ago, it was the first time I've ever used the arrays outside where I could walk away from the left one in a straight line. So I walked I had to go out to the car, and I'm walking away, and I mean, I'm line of sight to the speaker the whole way, and I'm about 4 cars down, plus a good 40 or 50 feet. Oh my gosh.
You can still hear
those things in the parking lot sounded amazing. And I just remember being so, because I know they're famous for that, like 120 or 140 or 120 and then 40.
120, yeah.
Man, absolutely phenomenal how much it projects away from it with clarity.
They perform completely different outdoors than they do indoors. Most of my experience with arrays is indoors.
Yeah.
But most of your experience is outdoors.
Outdoors.
So,
but I'm always in a confined space, so I can't get, like if I walk 20 feet away from it on the left, I'm walking into a wall. So I'm getting either pushback or I can't tell. But this was, I could have walked 1,000 feet away, and I was shocked when I got to the car. I'm like, man, what a great sound these things have.
It sounds good, and it's clear.
And it's clear as day. And I'm, yeah, exactly. It wasn't loud. It just sounded very clear and very nice.
Yeah.
And I'm out in the parking lot, and I'm like, lesson learned. This is where you get in trouble, because as you turn up, the parking lot is going to start turning up.
Is it audible or audible? Audible.
Audible, I think.
Audible. It's very audible. Yeah. All right, kids, let's put a fork in it. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week.
All right.
Until then. And maybe we'll talk about music next week. We didn't talk about music this time, but I don't know. Let's Jay.
Yes.
This is for you. And this is just so we can still get our BBC funding. John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.